Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Mostly Sci-Fi. I'm Mostly Sci-Fi and I'm your host. Please like and subscribe, and I think you can become a member. So become a member if you can, or subscribe, or donate to the Patreon if you can. That would be really great. Here, you come here for the great sci-fi movie reviews. So today I want to basically to review Godzilla -1, Godzilla -1, Gorhira. It finally has come to streaming. I saw it yesterday. I don't know if I didn't really have that much high expectations because I am a Godzilla fan, but more so the Godzilla of like the Monarch series, right? Like this type of the MonsterVerse or what have you. But this has changed, okay? And I want to tell you why. So first, I got some things that I want to say, all right? Because there's so many things that you could pack into this review, okay? So this was actually Godzilla -1. What does that mean? -1. And I was like, what the heck does that mean? And then I read up on it and I found out that it meant like back in the times in the 1940s and 50s when America dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that was said to be the lowest moment in Japanese history. So Japan was down to 0. It was just 0, right? So suppose America was like 8, right? Because we had won the war. And now we became the new world power, right? And Japan was down, it was 0, it was nothing, right? It was like Germany in World War I after they lost, right? And then you had this atomic monster come out of the sea and further destroy Japan because Japan was already destroyed by the atomic bomb. Everything was all leveled. There was nothing, right? And then you have this big monster come out of the deep to even lower the morale of soldiers even more, right? And so that's where -1 comes into play. So you can't get lower than 0 unless you're -1. So that's where it comes into play. And here, Godzilla -1 was actually competing with Oppenheimer, okay? And the movie Oppenheimer, basically, I guess it explains how the bomb came into fruition and how it was created, right? And which would then go on to drop it at Nagasaki and Hiroshima, right? So you had the guy named Oppenheimer, he developed the bomb and all this other kind of stuff. So this is before the bomb. And then you have Godzilla -1, and you even have the original Godzilla that actually explains to you after the bomb, what were the repercussions? What were the consequences of dropping this bomb? Okay, the consequence is you have a regenerative atomic lizard, right? That grows. You can't kill it. Okay, if you try to kill it, it just regenerates, right? And this is non-spoiler, but the scene where Godzilla regenerates is just crazy. Okay, and this is basically focusing on the Showa period. So I think you have different periods in Godzilla lore based on the emperor who ruled at the time. So the first period is from like the 1800s to like I think it's 1980s, something like that, until he died in 1989, Emperor Showa. So you had the Showa period, and you could see how Godzilla looked. So go back and watch the first Godzilla, right? You see the man in a suit. So in Godzilla -1, this is basically the Showa period. This is how Godzilla looked, like the way he looks aesthetically, okay? And then you have the Heisei period, which was from 1989 to, I think, 1995. And then you have the Millennium period, which is like, I don't know how to explain it, like from 1996 on, Okay, where you had Godzilla Final Wars or Godzilla versus all these other monsters, and they were like rebooting the franchise. And then you have another period now, which I don't recall the name, okay, which is like the Monsterverse, all right, which in my opinion is kind of the best one, although I do love the Showa period. So that is the era, right? Now this Godzilla -1, where it has less personality than the American version of Kong versus Godzilla 2, right? So they team up again, and Godzilla is pretty cool looking. The 2014 version of him, he's a cool looking. He has lots of personality, okay? He's like an anti-hero. The way we see him now in American, the way that America teams him up with King Kong. But in his Japanese version, which you can be able to see without, you have the subtitles, okay? The Japanese version, Godzilla lacks personality. So you're not really focusing, see, the bomb does not have a personality, right? It just does what it's supposed to do. It drops and detonates. And this is what Godzilla is in this movie, which makes it so genius, is that it lacks personality. You can't, the eyes are soulless, right? It just wreaks havoc without any purpose. And so there is, like, it's personified. Yeah, should I say that? So the bomb is like personified through Godzilla, the atomic bomb. It's basically about this kamikaze pilot who he was supposed to, during the last, I don't know if it's the Battle of Midway or something like this, where he was supposed to run his airplane into a ship, right? And then he cowards out, and the whole movie is him trying to redeem himself because he failed to ram his plane into a ship because the war was already over. So you was just killing yourself for no reason, right? And so he's trying to redeem himself through the whole movie. Now, this is the first Godzilla movie where I actually want to see the humans. Because Godzilla movies are basically, they call it kaiju movies, where Transformers is basically a kaiju, right? That's basically kaiju with robots. You have these giant things that are just causing havoc, like, everywhere, right? And they're personified into some kind of figurative meaning. So you have like Godzilla, or Japan has been attacked 3 times by devastation, which is Nagasaki, Hiroshima, and then you have Godzilla, right? And so when you see that, it seems like it's so real. You want to see the human interaction. When Godzilla comes out, it's like, oh yeah, he's cool, he's coming out, right? It's actually in reverse, because usually when you watch these movies, you want to see the monster wreaking havoc, or you want to see Godzilla whipping ass. Even in the Showa period, like not the first one, but the ones after, when he starts fighting like other animals, other kaiju, he becomes an anti-hero. He has personality, right? But in the first Godzilla, he did not have personality. All he did was destroy cities, okay? And so this one was based on that. Basically, it's just Godzilla in color. You know what I mean? The first Godzilla in color. But it's much better done than the first one. It's really done. You see really well done. You see the emotions of the people that are devastated by this attack, which we don't really see the era of the Heisei period, right? Or the millennial period, or the Hollywood period, which sucked. Like Godzilla 2000 was total garbage. That's the worst one of all, right? But you have the other ones where they're just fighting each other. You don't see it on a more personal level. It's more like in a general level. You see people running, but they don't focus in on individuals. And this is what the Monarch series is doing now, is focusing on individuals. But even there, it doesn't go far enough as in terms of the Japanese version. They just know Godzilla better. okay? Because they're Japanese. They know it better. They know it on a more personal level better because they got hit by the atomic bomb. Americans did not get hit by the atomic bombs because America is basically the ones that developed Monarch, right? The TV show or whatever. So even though you see things on a personal level with Monarch, you cannot feel for the characters like you feel for them in Godzilla -1. It's like you could feel for every character. It's amazing. It's like if Akira Kurosawa made a monster movie. That's basically what it is. It's a stroke of masterful genius. I don't know if they can ever do that again. It's like lightning in a bottle. It's probably one of the best movies I've ever seen. It's really good. They got a little bit of over dramatization, but I really get the feel of the characters. And pretty much that's it, and it focuses on a rebuilding effort of Godzilla. So I tried to give it to you without spoiling it for you. Go see the movie. It's streaming. It's the best Godzilla by far. So Godzilla has, the crew that made this movie, they have set the bar high. And in my opinion, I think that it should have won way more awards than Oppenheimer. This was just way better done. It's not boring. It's just a great movie. It's just a great movie. And I would have to rate it as I would say 8.5 to 9 out of 10. Because I watched it last night and I was supposed to go to sleep. I usually go to sleep at 8. And I start dozing off, right? But this movie was so engaging that I didn't have to doze off. It gave me enough I don't know what you call that, endorphins or something, to want to stay up and finish it. It's a great movie. So this is mostly sci-fi. Well, mostly.
You're a monster.
I can swallow a bottle of alcohol in her. Feel like Godzilla. Better hit the deck like the cartilla. My whole squad's in here walking around the party. A cross between a zombie apocalypse and Bobby.